Hey, coach, your childhood patterns written before the age of 7 may still be determining the success of your coaching business. And honestly, most coaches have absolutely no idea that this is happening because they think that they have a marketing problem, a sales problem, a consistency problem, a confidence problem, niche problem, discipline problem. But in reality, many coaches are unconsciously building their business through wounds and emotional survival patterns that were formed before they even understood what their business was at the age of 7 and under. And look, once you see this, you can't unsee this because think about it. Why does one coach uh, overwork constantly, feel guilty resting, endlessly collect certifications, still not feeling ready, and need to prove themselves over and over, while another coach might be avoiding visibility, procrastinating, around posting, feeling a bit sick before going live, or posting content and rewrites content for hours and hours. And other times might just disappear every time some kind of momentum builds. Like you might get a client or you might get some conversations going and then you kind of sabotage yourself and stop. There could be another personality that overgives, undercharges, struggles to ask for the sales, gives free sessions endlessly, and feels guilty receiving money for helping people. These are not random business problems. These are emotional protection patterns, and most of them were formed before the age of 7. Now, before someone in the comments says, are you blaming parents for the business problems? No, that's not what I'm saying. Your parents were usually doing the best they could with the awareness that they had, but developmental psychology and attachment research has shown us something incredibly important. Children adapt emotionally to survive the environment that they grow up in. That means, right, if love felt conditional, you might become the type of coach who feels like you need to prove yourself. Okay. If visibility felt unsafe, you may become the kind of coach that wants to stay invisible. Or if emotional safety came from helping others, you may end up being a coach that just wants to rescue everyone. If conflict felt really dangerous, you may become a people-pleasing coach, which has a lot of other consequences. If vulnerability felt unsafe, you might become quite an armored or protected coach. And here's why this matters so much in your business. Because your coaching business will eventually expose every unconscious emotional pattern you have not resolved yet. Business will expose your self-worth, your visibility wounds, rejection wounds, money wounds, boundaries, or lack of boundaries, nervous system safety, identity, emotional regulation, and so on and so forth. That's why someone can know exactly what to do strategically and still not do it consistently, because information is not the issue, safety is. And honestly, this is where I think the coaching industry gets it badly wrong, because emotionally intelligent coaches are constantly being told, just post more, just take messy action, just stay consistent, just pick any niche, right? Just push through the fear. Meanwhile, your nervous system is not feeling safe, it's screaming. And so coaches will start thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. Your nervous system is simply trying to keep you safe, based on emotional conditioning that once kept you safe. This becomes incredibly obvious when you look at the different coaching patterns that people develop. For example, the proving coach. This coach feels like they must constantly prove that they're worthy of success. They overwork, they overlearn, they overperform, they overdeliver, and rest feels unsafe. The invisible coach, they know that they're gifted, but every time they try to be seen publicly, they freeze or they procrastinate or they just disappear. The people-pleasing coach is one of the most common ones that come into my world. They struggle to set boundaries. They will undercharge, overgive, avoid sales conversations, sometimes just give things for free, and secretly feel guilty receiving any money, right? The rescuer coach will become emotionally responsible for clients, right? They'll carry everyone's pain, they'll struggle to detach and eventually burn out. With the armored coach, they're highly intelligent, very strategic, but emotionally very guarded. And they stay in teaching instead of true heart to heart connection because vulnerability feels unsafe for them. And here's the important part, most people are trying to solve these emotional patterns with more strategy, just buying another course that gives you sales strategy or lead strategy with more funnels, more content, more courses, more certifications. Please stop. Please stop. Strategy cannot solve unconscious emotional protection patterns. Awareness changes things, okay? Emotional safety changes things. In our program, we also offer the strategic, more leads, more sales, better offer, pick your niche from your genius. However, we support you to heal the wounds and the mindset that might be blocking you from your success. Emotional safety changes things. Understanding why you operate the way you do really changes things. Because once someone understands, oh, this isn't laziness, I'm not being lazy, this isn't failure, this is actually protective adaptation, they stop attacking themselves. And that is when real momentum can begin. Yeah. I've seen coaches who were terrified of visibility suddenly start posting consistently once they understood the emotional pattern underneath. I've seen people stop undercharging when they realized money guilt was tied to childhood conditioning around burden, worthiness, or being too much. And specifically, coaches in my program who I know were terrified of posting and are now posting consistently, that are now charging their worth. I've seen people who spent years stuck in learning mode, 10 years, and not having a paid client finally start executing once they realize they're not actually addicted to learning. They were just emotionally avoiding visibility, rejection, and exposure. And honestly, this is why I created this coaching pattern quiz because I wanted coaches to finally see what unconscious patterns might be still running their business, how your childhood emotional conditioning may still visibly affect your pricing, confidence, and leadership, and what might actually be happening underneath the surface, not from shame, from awareness. Okay, because awareness creates choice. And once you see the pattern, you can stop being unconsciously controlled about it, but also you know what to do. Like there's some steps on actually overcoming that. So, why do I keep sabotaging momentum? These are some of the questions you might have. Why does visibility feel exhausting? Why do I struggle to receive money? Why do I still not feel good enough despite all the work I've done, all this personal development, all these certifications, all these courses? Why? Why is it that I'm still feeling that I can't do this? Now, this will probably hit deeply. If you've been asking yourself these questions, I created a free coaching pattern quiz that helps to uncover the unconscious emotional patterns that might still be shaping your coaching business today. And honestly, a lot of people find themselves crying halfway through because it finally was like, yeah, okay, I see my pattern. I see what it is I need to do. And I've been through these. This is how I created such a precise pattern extractor because a lot of these patterns were unconsciously keeping me held back. You can take the quiz below. There's a link here, and I'd love to know which coaching pattern do you resonate with the most? The rescuer, invisible coach, proving coach, pleasing coach. There's some other personalities that may come up depending on your answers. Maybe something else entirely. Because once you understand the pattern, everything starts making a lot more sense. If you want to know more, do the quiz below, and there's also a link that you can DM me directly and I can send you more information. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope sincerely that you get to know what your childhood patterns are that are showing up in your coaching business today.